Hi, my amazing planner friends. It's just for my magical planner, and it is time to set up my weekly actions or weekly goals in my MakseLife companion notebook. Now, I do have my MakseLife dot markers here. I tend to use these every week, and I also have just a Sharpie S gel. This one happens to be purple. It was what was on my desk today, so that's what I'm going to be using. I have gone through and done my reflections. We'll go over that as well as last week's goals and just kind of briefly touch on this month's goals because this will be my first week in the new month. That all being said, I will timestamp everything down below, so if you just want to see what this week's actions are, you can skip to that point. All right, let's go back to last week's actions, which are here. So I pretty much was able to check everything off. So for personal, I had figure out what I wanted to do with my nails. I have an appointment for Tuesday. Sorry, guys. It was when they had availability. So that is figured out. I did spend less time on YouTube. Now, create one photo I love did not happen. The photos just are not happening right now. I think it's because of an energy problem. By the time I get everything else done, I just don't have energy for something more creative each day. So for fun and recreation, I had Saturday family dinner and show that happened. And I listened to an audiobook this week and I completed the whole book, which was really nice. It was very good. It was how to solve your own murder. And I highly recommend it. It was really well written. Work and learning. My goals for this week were to plan out June's content. I've done that. I did not learn one new thing with the camera this week. I got kind of really tired and didn't get much done half the week. So that's something I need to work on a little bit. The check-in with the kids happened and we started helping Jarrett move stuff to the new business location. Morning walks happened not as frequently as I would like, but I'm still giving myself credit because I at least got 3 in this week. Replacing my morning Dr. Pepper with herbal tea was so-so. I had some issues with things upsetting my stomach, and so it's going to be a little bit of trial and error there. I did try some other things, but didn't have great success either. So I need to work on that one. I didn't have anything for these 2 areas, especially I didn't have anything for spiritual and personal growth or finances, so nothing to check off there. And for physical environment, I had clean kitchen fan, organize the craft area, daily chore check-in, and Saturday out cleanup, which meant outside cleanup, which got changed, but I still checked it off because what we ended up doing was moving stuff from the garage to Jarrett's new location, which was nice. Okay, so reflections for this week are, okay, so my big wins are finished up the kitchen. So that was a big physical environment goal for this last month. I had a deep cleaning thing I was doing in there. So that is actually completely done, which I'm so proud of. Walks, I think, were a big win. YouTube, my goal of having less time on YouTube was a win. Jarrett's new space, checking off almost all my goals this last week was really good. Listening to a whole book and planning out June. So what worked? Daily to-do list, goals for the kitchen, and just generally having smaller goals I think is working. Family time and kid check-in also worked. What didn't work? Nutrition. I wasn't feeling great this week. I had low energy. I made a misstep in what I ate, and that really affects me for multiple days, and I need to be better about that. But I got overstressed. I ate poorly, and I made a stress purchase. So I said overstressed. Just some financial things with buying a new space. There's a lot of hoops you kind of have to jump through for that, and the end of the school year, like this is the last full week for the kids, so the combination of everything I think really got to me. And then chores for the kitchen, really. Like the other chores are working, but I had split up the kitchen because nobody wants to do the kitchen chores. So I have 4 kids and I had split them up so that each kid had a different chore in the kitchen. But it wasn't happening. And this is kind of in my lessons learned, so I'm going to transition to there. And what we learned is that with splitting everything up, what ends up happening is you have a kid waiting for another kid to do their chore. And if the, we'll say, top chore isn't done, then everything else doesn't get done. So if the kid who unloads the dishwasher doesn't unload, then the person who loads can't do their job. And if the person who is supposed to load the dishwasher doesn't do their job, then the person who has, counters has a hard time doing their job, and so on. So we're going to need to do some adjustments with that. So the other lessons learned I have for this week, because I'll go back to chores and the adjustments here in a second, but I need to work a little bit more on my balance of how I do like everything throughout the day, because I tend to I'm still doing that front loading where I do Monday and Tuesday, I do a ton of stuff. Wednesday, Thursday, I'm so tired. Friday, I'm just getting through. I'm checking off all the things, but I'm not doing anything extra. Saturday is recoup, and then Sunday, I'm ready for the weekend, right? And so I need to balance that a little bit better still, and I have some ideas for that for this week. The nightly check-ins, if I do those, my next day goes so much better. And what I mean by that is I just sit down and I look at my planner. I look at what's coming the next day. I look at the weather for the next day, and I make a to-do list for the next day, which is this portion on my planner down here. And if I can fill out these before the coming day, when I get up in the morning, those are all fresh in my mind, or at least I have a reference to them, and I know what needs to be done, and I can kind of organize a little bit better, and I'm more motivated to get things done. So that's really important. We talked about the kids splitting up the chores, so adjustments needed. Rotating day for the kitchen chore. Instead of having, because nobody wants to do the kitchen. I get it. I hate doing kitchen too. So they all still have their individual rooms that they are in charge of, which rotates each week. But instead of having either somebody stationed in the kitchen for the whole week, because that gets overwhelming to them, what I've done is they have their individual rooms, and then they've each been assigned a day to do the kitchen. And I assigned out 4 days. The other days I'll do it. No big deal. And that way things can get done. So that's the plan for this week. Trying to do the nightly to-do list for the next day the night before, and setting an alarm for my walks, I think is going to be helpful as well. Okay, now for this week's actions, which I need to kind of just briefly go over. I'm going to do the focuses, and if you want to see the entire planning for the month, I will link that up above, but we're just going to kind of go over what my focus areas are for each one. So for personal, I have the goal of self-confidence. For fun and recreation, we have time with family, work and learning purpose, family and relationships, friendships, health and wellness, feeling better, spiritual and personal growth, learning, finance, knowledge, and physical environment. My focus is my yard. So with that in mind, because this is my first week working on them, for my personal, which was self-confidence, I had 2 areas here, physical appearance and strengths, that I wanted to work on. This week, I'm going to be focusing on physical appearance a little bit. So my goal is to do hair and makeup each day? Because right now I don't. I can't even tell you the last time I put makeup on. Because what happens is I get up and I'm like, oh, I have to do all these things and I don't want to mess up my clothes or whatever, or I stay in my workout clothes. So I'm going to try and make myself just kind of prepare myself better for the day. Like maybe figure out a time after I've done my chores that I can do that and feel more put together for the day. So that's a big one. And find a worksheet. I don't necessarily have to do it, but I want to do the research to find a worksheet to help me find my strengths. And I think those are both very doable. The hair and makeup is going to be a little bit more challenging. I used to do that all the time. It's just with getting sick and being so tired all the time, it's harder for me to maintain that. And so I just don't think about it because it's extra energy, but I think it's important. So for fun and recreation, my focus is my family kind of and spending time with them. I am going to do one thing on here that isn't related to that, which is I downloaded another book today. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a mystery. I'll insert the name here and you guys, if you've read it, can tell me if you liked it. But listen to new mystery book is going to be one of my big ones. And then find a day for a day trip. I'm hoping. Sorry about that. My battery died. So find a day for a day trip and then pick 3 options for trip so that the kids can kind of choose and feel like they're involved in the process. All my kids are older. If they were younger, that wouldn't be something I think I would do. I think I would pick one and say, we're doing this. All right, work and learning, which my focus is my purpose. So I think what I want to do, and I'm just going to have, well, I'm going to do 2 dots this week. One, I want to make a list of the content I enjoy or am proud of. And I feel like that's a good starting spot to figure things out a little bit more. And then I want to work on a schedule. And I have some ideas for that this week. I think I'm going to dedicate a couple days to this and a couple days to household stuff. And that way I can try and balance the two. All right, for family and relationships, my focus is friendships. And part of that is evaluating some of the friendships I have. So I want to make a list of friends. Just listing them off. This is something MakseLife did in their Club Moxie at one point. So I have worksheets involving it. I can't go over them here because it's kind of proprietary. But one of the key things that I learned from that is that friendships change over time. And so you kind of have to evaluate them and figure out, how is this friendship working? And if you want to move that friendship up and dedicate more time to it, and if there are other friendships that maybe aren't as beneficial as they once were, or you're not as close to the person as you once were, And so you need to figure out what you want to do with that relationship, be it you decide that that isn't a friendship that's working for you anymore, or that's a friendship you want to build on. So I want to make a list of friends, and then I want to set up to get-togethers. So I'll use my list to help me do that. All right, health and wellness. So I think we're going to do 3 this week here. Hopefully that won't be too much. So the first one I want to do is I've kind of gotten a little out of hand with my soda drinking, which I know is also playing into my acid reflux and GERD symptoms and everything else. So I'm going to limit myself to 2 cans of soda a day before 2 p.m. And the reason I'm putting 2 p.m. is because it's affecting my sleep. So my sleep is, like, I suffer from insomnia stuff, and so sometimes that can be an issue. So I want to make sure that I am not adding to it. So I have that. I'm going to continue the morning walks. It's more of a maintaining thing. But I'm worried if I take it off that I will stop doing it. And then along with that, okay, so I'm going to put CPAP nightly. That's something I should be doing. What happened, so I have sleep apnea, and with being in the hospital for so long and hooked up to so many machines and everything, I have had a hard time using my CPAP afterwards. It reminds me of being in the hospital, and it's a struggle, but I know it's something I need to be using. So I think I need to come up with a reward for myself for using it. I do need to, it takes me a few minutes after I put my mask on to calm down and be okay. But it's a work in progress, and I think it's important. Spiritual and personal growth, which I'm focusing on personal growth. So I think I'm going to put 2 things down this week. So my focus is learning. And so for learning, I'm going to give myself a specific thing I want to learn. So need isn't the right word. I want to learn about YouTube hashtags. And the other thing is I want to listen to an inspirational talk this week. And I think that would be good for me. For finances, my goal is to be more knowledgeable about everything. So this week, my goal is to find out all the bills we have, because I've said this in the past, I'm bad with finances. My husband handles them all, but I want to be more aware. So I want to know the bills we have going out and income in. And that's going to be my starting point, kind of as a budgeting or financial whatever. I'm not good with finances, so I don't know the right term. But that's going to be my starting place. All right, for physical environment. Now I have a couple things here. I'm giving myself 3. So my focus, and this is kind of secondary to the yard, but with Jared moving all of his stuff out of the garage, I kind of feel like it's an opportunity to clean out the garage. So clean garage is going on here this week. which I think will be good because it'll it'll free up space in there, and there may be things that aren't in there that need to go in there. So that is one. Two is on Saturday when I get my kids for an hour. That's the deal. They help me for an hour doing something. And this week we're going to do weeding because it really needs to happen out front and I can't do it by myself. So we're going to do weeding, and then I'm going to put the chore check in here. So, all right. And that, I think, is everything for this week. I hope it helps you figure out your own goals and this whole goal process. It's a learning curve. I'm not as good as I'm better at it now than I was months ago, but it's still a work in progress, and the MakseLife system is really helping me do that. So that's all I have for today. I hope it helped you, and I'll see you next week and we'll check in on these. So bye for now.